Loretta Swit, one of the stars of the hit CBS series, died today here in New York.
Just before she passed, Loretta Swit, known to the world as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, finally told the truth fans had waited decades to hear. For years, people had whispered and guessed why some cast members suddenly left MASH. But no one really knew what happened behind the scenes. Then, in her final days, Loretta broke her silence. What she shared wasn't just shocking, it changed everything we thought we knew about the show, the friendships, and the drama that never made it to screen. What could have been the reason? Join us in this video as we discuss the details. The television show MASH was one of the most loved and talked about shows in TV history. It made millions of people laugh, cry, and think. It came into homes all across the country and stayed there for over a decade. But even though it looked like everything was perfect on the screen, the truth behind the scenes was not always so happy. There were problems, there were arguments, and there were quiet moments of frustration that kept building up over the years. People didn't always see it, but it was there. Loretta Swit, who played the role of Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, finally opened up much later in life. For years, she had stayed quiet about what really happened while they were filming. She didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings or speak badly about her co-stars. But before she passed away, she decided it was time to share the truth. She talked about the fights, the pressure, and the sadness that was hidden behind the laughter and applause. The things that happened off camera were not part of the script, but they were very real. MASH wasn't just any show. It was something special. It started on September 17, 1972, and it stayed on the air until February 28, 1983. That's more than 10 years. It was based on a movie from 1970, and that movie came from a book written in 1968. The book was about 3 army doctors working in the Korean War. The show tried to tell the story of war, but in a way that mixed sadness with humor. One moment it could make you laugh out loud, and the next it could break your heart. That was part of its power. It felt real. The actors played doctors, nurses, and soldiers who were just trying to get through each day. They worked with wounded soldiers. They dealt with pain, fear, loneliness, and loss. Sometimes the stories were serious. Sometimes they were silly, but they always felt like something true. That's what made the show so loved. It wasn't just about war. It was about being human. The cast was full of unforgettable characters. Alan Alda played the smart, sarcastic surgeon named Hawkeye Pierce. Wayne Rogers was his good friend and fellow Dr. Trapper John. Loretta Swit played the strong but emotional nurse Major Houlihan. There was also Frank Burns, played by Larry Linville, who was a stiff and by-the-book man. McLean Stevenson played the easygoing Colonel Blake. Radar O'Reilly, the sweet and young clerk, was played by Gary Berghoff. There was also Klinger, who wore dresses and hoped to get sent home, played by Jamie Farr. And there was Father Mulcahy, the kind-hearted chaplain, played by William Christopher. As time passed, some cast members left and others joined. Trapper John left, and B.J. Honeycutt, played by Mike Farrell, took his place. After Colonel Blake was gone, Harry Morgan joined the show as Colonel Potter. Frank Burns also left, and a new character, Charles Winchester, was brought in, played by David Ogden Stiers. Every new actor added something different, but the feeling of the show stayed the same. It still felt like home to many people. What made MASH even more powerful was that many of the stories came from real doctors who had lived through the Korean War. Alan Alda didn't just act in the show. He helped write and direct many of the episodes. That gave the show a personal touch that fans really connected with. When the final episode aired in 1983, it was called Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen. That one episode broke records. It was watched by more people than any other TV episode at that time. For many fans, the show didn't just end. It left a space in their lives. Reports allegedly reveal that the reasons the cast left the show, according to Loretta Swit, were years of tension, unequal treatment, and creative frustration. She broke her silence to set the record straight and honor what her co-stars endured as the laughter echoed through living rooms across America. What unequal treatment and frustration was really happening behind the scenes? Let's delve deeper. Loretta Swit had her own journey. She was born on November 4, 1937, in Passaic, New Jersey. Her family was Polish-American. Her parents, Lester and Nellie, raised Loretta and her older brother, Robert. Her dad worked as a salesman and upholsterer. Loretta was always full of energy and excitement, even when she was young. She joined the Girl Scouts at her church and went to Pope Pius High School. There, she became a cheerleader, acted in school plays, and co-captained the basketball team. After finishing school, she went to Catherine Gibbs School and graduated in 1957. At first, she worked regular office jobs like many young women at that time. She was a secretary and even worked at the United Nations, but deep down, Loretta had other dreams. She wanted to perform. She trained secretly as a dancer and studied acting in New York. She even took singing lessons. She started acting in theater, and by 1961, she was performing in well-known plays. She worked with famous actors like Don Rickles and Ernest Borgnine. She never stopped working. Even in the 2000s, she was still doing plays like Shirley Valentine and 6 Dance Lessons in 6 Weeks. Loretta moved to Hollywood in 1969 and got guest roles on TV shows like Gunsmoke and Hawaii Five-0. Then she got the part that changed everything, Major Houlihan on The MASH show. At first, her character was strict and tough. She didn't get along with anyone except Frank Burns, who was also her secret lover. Their relationship was weird and often funny, but not very healthy. Over time, though, her character changed. She became kinder, more understanding, and started building real friendships. These changes made her more relatable to the audience. Loretta stayed with the show for all 11 seasons. She was in almost every episode. Only 3 other actors stayed for the whole run. She won 2 Emmy Awards and loved episodes that showed more of her character's personal life. She also became very close friends with some of her castmates, especially Alan Alda and Harry Morgan. After the show ended, she and Morgan even became neighbors. Even though she had good friendships, things on the set were not always peaceful. Alan Alda became the center of the show over time. He wasn't just the star. He wrote, directed, and helped shape the whole series. Some of the other actors didn't like how much attention and control he had. Wayne Rogers, who played Trapper John, felt like he was being pushed into the background. He left after season 3 because he didn't feel like part of a team anymore. He thought the show was supposed to be about an ensemble cast, but it became more focused on Hawkeye. Even though he stayed friends with Alda, he knew he had to move on. McLean Stevenson, who played Colonel Blake, also left because he wanted more out of his role. He later realized that people didn't love him, they loved his character. That realization made him feel left out. Loretta Swit said he felt underappreciated. When his character died on the show, it shocked everyone. Fans cried. It was a powerful moment in TV history. Larry Linville, who played Frank Burns, left after 5 years. He said he had done all he could with the role. His character wasn't growing or changing, and he didn't want to keep playing the same person over and over. Even though people didn't like the character, Linville was respected for making that choice. Gary Berghoff, who played Radar, left in season 7. He was getting older but still had to play a young, innocent character. That was hard for him. He also wanted to spend more time with his family. Some people said he was difficult to work with. There were arguments and even yelling matches on set. But in the end, he made the choice to walk away for the sake of his peace of mind and his family. Alan Alda continued to shape the show. He made it deeper and more emotional. Some people loved that. Others felt like it became too much about him. Loretta Swit always supported him and called him a close friend. But not everyone felt the same. The team effort that the show started with slowly faded. It became harder for the others to find their place. Through all the laughter and tears, the behind-the-scenes truth was far more complicated. The show's success was real, but it came with pressure, arguments, and emotional stress. For the cast and crew, it wasn't just a job. It was a journey, one that was filled with both love and struggle, joy and pain. Behind all the fame and powerful roles, what was Loretta Swit's life really like when the cameras stopped rolling? Stay tuned for more. Loretta Swit's final years and lasting legacy were marked by love, loss, and purpose. Loretta Swit lived a life that was both strong and very touching. On screen, she was seen as bold, focused, and full of heart. But behind the scenes, her life told a different story, one filled with love that didn't last, personal sadness, and a deep love for animals. In 1983, Loretta married actor Dennis Houlihan. He had acted with her during the final season of MASH, and their connection seemed promising. Many thought she had found her happily ever after. For a while it looked like she did. But just a few years later, the marriage came to an end. In 1986, they got divorced. Friends later said that Loretta was heartbroken. She had really believed in that love, but it didn't work out. The sadness from that breakup stayed with her. Even though people admired her, she carried the pain quietly. She didn't always talk about the divorce in public, but those close to her could see how much it hurt her. After that marriage ended, Loretta never married again. Some believed it was her choice, while others thought she might have been scared to be hurt again. She had been in other relationships before and after the marriage, but they never lasted. She kept her love life private. When interviewers asked about romance, she would smile or change the subject. It was as if some things were just too painful to bring up again. People who knew her well said she gave her heart completely and loved deeply. However, she hardly got that same love in return. Regardless of her success and fame, Loretta sometimes felt lonely. She always wanted someone to truly see her and love her for who she really was, even though she had admirers all over the world. Behind the confident, strong woman everyone saw was a person who simply wanted to be cared for, understood, and not feel so alone. Despite the ups and downs in her personal life, Loretta's love of animals gave her a lot of meaning. She was a true voice for those who couldn't speak for themselves and had a deep affection for animals. Over the years, she became one of the most devoted celebrity supporters of animal rights. This wasn't just something she did for attention. It was something she believed in with all her heart. Loretta collaborated extensively with organizations such as the Humane Society. She advocated for the adoption of homeless pets, spoke out against cruelty, and welcomed numerous animals in need of love and care into her home. Animals that had nowhere else to go were known to find safety in her home. She ensured that they were protected, loved, and given another chance. Loretta was admired by those who knew her for her bravery and kindness in aiding animals. Never one to back down from a challenge, she would use her celebrity to raise awareness of critical issues. She kept on fighting for animals as she grew older. She showed that caring for others, whether human or animal, was just as serious as any role she ever played on TV. Loretta died on May 30, 2025. The police shared the report. It was believed that she died of natural causes. No signs of anything shady were present. For someone who had led such a rich and heart-touching life, it was a calm and peaceful way to die. Fans, friends, and those in the entertainment industry were all very saddened by her passing. Loretta had been more than just a television personality to many. She was a representation of a strong, hard-working woman who never wavered from her convictions. Her voice for anima. When the host asked if they expected MASH to be such a hit, Loretta said no. In the beginning, they were just hired to do a pilot episode. They didn't even have a script at first, just faith in each other and trust in their producer, Larry Gelbart. But over time, their hard work paid off. The cast grew closer and the stories got stronger. Loretta said it really helped that everyone got along and enjoyed spending time together, even outside of work. Larry and Loretta also talked a bit about their lives away from the show. Larry was married to the daughter of well-known actor Will Geer, and the host mentioned how much they liked Geer. Loretta said she had been busy traveling to Australia and Tahiti and had just finished filming a TV movie with McLean Stevenson again. She smiled as she mentioned that McLean sent the host a kiss and joked about doing terrible things together on set, clearly having fun remembering those times. Loretta also shared a fun story about her dogs. She had 2 dogs that were pictured in a photo, and one had just given birth to puppies, mixes of poodle and Pekingese, called Pikapoo. Larry teased her about it, and they both laughed. The interview got a little more serious when they talked about acting itself. Larry said comedy works best when there is some truth in it. Loretta agreed and said that a person who can't feel sadness can't feel real joy either. Acting to them was about being honest, and sometimes that meant being willing to feel pain in order to bring happiness to the audience. They also talked about how much they trusted each other as castmates. Loretta said they gave each other advice and feedback, and they never let egos get in the way. Everyone on the show wanted it to be the best it could be. Larry added that when they worked through scripts or ideas, it didn't matter who had the idea first. They just wanted to make the show great. He explained that sometimes even silly or garbage ideas could lead to something amazing. As the interview ended, it was clear that both Loretta Swit and Larry Linville had great respect for each other and for their fellow actors. They laughed, joked, and even poked fun at each other, but you could tell there was a lot of love and professionalism behind the scenes. This old interview reminds us how special the cast of MASH really was. They didn't just act, they worked together like a family. Loretta and Larry's playful back and forth showed their chemistry, but also their deep care for the craft of acting. Even in a short conversation, their bond and their dedication to making something great were easy to see. What did Loretta Swit do after the spotlight faded? And how did her bond with Alan Alda and her quiet acts of kindness shape the legacy she left behind? Let's take a closer look. Loretta Swit's acting as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan on the hit television show MASH made her a big name. However, her career carried much more than one part. She made a difference on and off the screen, put in a lot of effort, and stood up for what she believed in. Her talent earned her many awards. Her friendship with co-star Alan Alda lasted a lifetime, and her later years were filled with peace, art, and helping animals. While working on MASH, Loretta didn't just play her role the way it was written. She wanted her character Margaret to be seen as a strong and smart woman, not just someone used for laughs. Over time, she helped turn a simple role into a strong one. Fans saw this, and her hard work paid off. From 1974 to 1983, Loretta was nominated 10 times for the Emmy Award for Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy. She won twice, once in 1980 and again in 1982. She was also nominated 4 times for a Golden Globe and won the People's Choice Award in 1983 as the favorite female TV star. That was the same year MASH ended. She was one of only a few cast members who stayed from the first episode all the way to the last. One of the most important friendships in her life came from the show. Alan Alda, who played Hawkeye, had a unique connection with Loretta. On screen, their characters first quarreled, but as time went on, they became closer. Off-screen, the same thing occurred. Long after the show was over, they remained close, respected one another, and worked well together. After their characters kissed in the last episode, fans were always curious if they were romantically involved. However, neither of them ever provided any confirmation. They concentrated on their friendship and kept their relationship quiet. Loretta once claimed that she trusted Alan like family and that he frequently complimented her on her kindness and talent. When Loretta passed away, in a heartfelt post, he said Loretta was more than just a great actress. She helped create the role of Margaret by working with the writers and standing up for better stories for women. He said they were both proud when the script stopped calling her Hot Lips and started using her real name, Margaret. For many fans, this message confirmed how deep their bond really was. After MASH, Loretta didn't chase fame. Instead, she spent her time doing things she loved. She became a strong voice for animal rights, choosing to be a vegetarian in 1981 and later becoming a vegan. She worked closely with groups like PETA, helped raise money for animal shelters, and even brought rescue dogs to the MASH set during filming. She also loved art. In 1986, she published a book of her own needlepoint designs. In 2017, she released another book, which showed her watercolor paintings and talked about her work with animals. These books didn't talk about Hollywood. They showed who she really was, a quiet, thoughtful woman who cared deeply about her causes. Loretta once said, "I already have the world in my art. Why would I need someone else to witness it?" She spent her later years painting, staying out of the spotlight, and helping animals in need. Loretta Swit's story shows that true success isn't just about awards or fame. It's about using your voice, doing the work, and leaving behind something meaningful. She changed how women were seen on TV, stood up for what mattered, and stayed true to herself all the way to the end. What do you think about the legacy Loretta Swit left behind? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.